Come on into another edition of X Feed. My name is the Sheller. The Killer, not actually, but in theory, it sounds kind of good. The news headlines of the day, your general Web3 sentiment. We have a Doodle that was bought by the Doodle team. We got some very big names out here doing things very publicly with blockchain integration. I don't know. It's feeling a lot like Christmas. So welcome on in. Appreciate any likes on the video. You guys are an absolute gem. Look at this article off the rip, though. Over 25% of on-chain activity in Q3 is driven by blockchain gaming data shows. So to think about it, that's kind of a tiny number. I mean, I guess when you're looking at the entirety of crypto, maybe 25 cents is all right. But to really think about it, there's a lot of room to grow. Blockchain gaming dominated the Web3 landscape in Q3, capturing over 26% of on-chain activity, according to Dapps Radar's latest report. Web3 gaming accounted for over 26% of on-chain activity in Q3, fueled by 4.4 million daily active wallets, which marks a 21% increase in daily unique active wallets from the previous quarter, according to Dapps Radar's data. Phenomenal. So that means things are picking up just a little bit. But then you go over to Forbes, and I can't tell if Forbes is a big fan of Web3, if they absolutely hate it. But the title of this article, what happened to Off the Grid, the so-called Web3 game mega hit? So yesterday when we had the conversation around Off the Grid being a household name, is it that? Not really. But I think it's got the potential to be. So far, it's looking really, really optimistic. But we are kind of all just giving it the go-ahead after, what? Less than 72 hours, maybe a little bit more, of being in the spotlight. Yes, this is the mega hit we've all been waiting for. We've just called it and said that. Now, I'm trying to think. There was a first-person shooter game that came out very recently. Defiant. X-Defiant is the game. And I saw the other day that there was some headline of, we need to have X amount of players come back or the game's going to get shut down by season 4. Something along those lines. And I was like, damn, X-Defiant had a ton of players for a really short period, but then they went away. So is this different? What's going on? I'll read this super quick, and sorry, there's all these freaking ads on the screen. What the hell is going on over at Forbes? Around 2 weeks ago, there seemed to be an explosion of interest in Off the Grid, a new battle royale set in a cyberpunk world that a number of top streamers were playing. What often went unsaid, however, was that this was actually a Web3 and crypto-based game, a genre that has performed very badly in the mainstream market. But with the launch of Off the Grid into early access, that community believed they had finally found a huge mainstream hit at last. So where is it now? What seems pretty clear is that Off the Grid paid big money for sponsorship deals with streamers like Ninja and Tim the Tatman as a huge initial booster. Those streamers played the game and hyped it up, as you need to do in sponsored deals, and something like a video game where Tim calls Off the Grid the best new battle royale has the hashtag OTG partner sponsored hashtag attached to it. So when it's put in this light, do you think that these streamers are being not unfaithful, but are they being like liars? You know what I mean? Like, is that the way we view it? If there's a sponsored post, that we should just say, okay, nah, it's paid for, so of course they're saying that? Or do we think that there's any sort of humility or aspect of they might actually enjoy the game? They have to make a post about the game with the hashtag sponsor. Are they having to say, this is the greatest game ever? I mean, personally, if I play a game and I'm like, listen, fam, it's just not my cup of tea, I can't hide it. Right? Like, in doing these streams, like, okay, maybe if we're getting paid that much, maybe they can act really good, but I don't know. Yo, ad name here, Canadian Sweets for Silo. Yo, that's the hope. When are shops going to start accepting that? I'm not calling out those streamers. Deals are deals, but I do believe this artificially inflated this artificially inflated the idea that Off the Grid had arrived on the scene as some big game-changing hit. Many of the people I saw hyping it up online who were not sponsored were not gamers but Web3 and NFT guys. Now this is completely the opposite for me. I would say everyone I saw talking about Off the Grid was streamers that I genuinely just organically followed. So I completely disagree with this. While you could play the game ignoring those elements, it seems the shooter itself may not be able to stand on its own once these deals fade, which was kind of my question initially too, but we're still seeing a decent amount of people play it. As it stands, without any big streamers to prop it up, Off the Grid has fallen well outside the top 100 most viewed games on Twitch, and last I looked, it had 1,000 to 2,000 or so viewers. Is it actually that low? A sharp drop from 150,000 or so when the streamers were playing. Okay, hold on. I don't have another screen, so squeeze me for the starting soon screen, but Off the Grid, I'm just going over here to Twitch. We're looking, so 2,000 is TP, which is probably paid for, and then there is a couple of streamers. Nah, that's actually crazy. Hold on, look at this. Hold on. Oh boy. Maybe they're not too wrong. Now, granted, it's only 1 o'clock and it is a Wednesday afternoon. How many people are going to be on playing that? But just looking at this right now, yeah, there's not that many people playing it, but is it that big of a deal? I don't know. We'll see later in the day if that picks up. But very interesting to see nonetheless. So I saw this on my timeline. Somebody's talking about this Skey Network. And they're saying they're all about RWA. So I'm like, okay, let me look and see what these guys have to say. So Skey Real Assets, a solution that tokenizes goods, dividing them into small portions, accessible to any investor or technology, opens door to new eras. Over 50 billion. Like, the site looks kind of okay, but I'm curious if the videos are any good.
Real-world assets. Have you wondered how widespread the upcoming trend of real-world assets and asset tokenization is? Discover a new era of investment with Skey Network. We introduce the tokenization capabilities of real-world assets with Skey Network's advanced technology.
What's
with
the
our
advanced technology?
Tokenizing the space becomes a simple and affordable step for anyone looking to diversify their assets. This is one of the first examples in the history of Skey Network, a private parking space. The use of blockchain enables transparent allocation and purchase of investments and ongoing monitoring of those using the space. The parking lot was tokenized into 4 shares, each corresponding to 25%. An NFT was assigned to the share, stored on the blockchain. Each entry is a payment received into a shared wallet, then automatically divided by share, making management simple, transparent, and automatic. Why is Skey Network's technology crucial? With its unique blockchain infrastructure, it not only provides security and transparency in transactions, but also allows flexibility in creating and managing RWA tokens.
Listen, I'm just going to be totally honest. Like that, I don't know. Like, the parking lot concept sounded really good initially, and then it just kind of went off the deep end. And it feels like the AI voice and everything around it, just, I don't know. Not sold. We're at a less than a war. Moving on. All right. So Beanie highlighting this thing from SUI Network. And if you haven't seen, I guess there was another day, another problem. Welcome to Web3. So from the official SUI Network account, following an allegation, of SUI insiders selling 400 million in tokens throughout this run-up, SUI Foundation would like to respond directly to this individual. 1, no insiders, neither employees of the foundation or Miston Labs, including Miston Labs founder, nor ML investors, have sold 400 million worth of tokens during this period, either individually or combined. Insiders have not been involved in any preemptive selling or violation of lockups in the circulating supply schedule. While the poster did not provide the wallet address, we believe the likely owner of the wallet is an infrastructure partner who owns tokens under a lockup schedule. All token lockups are enforced by qualified custodians and continuously monitored by SUI Foundation, and this partner is in compliance. Okay, so I'm confused as hell. They're saying that a partner sold all of 400 million tokens, but there was supposed to be a lockup. But Beanie's comments on it. Unfortunately, this is why people hate and don't trust crypto. I say that as one of the first bold posts on SUI when it was 1/4 of the price. Very disappointed by this excuse and quote-unquote infrastructure partner that isn't an insider, which was able to dump 400 million worth of tokens. Yo, that's actually, holy smokes. That's a tough look and absolutely insane amount of money too. So kind of cool over in the realm of Doodles here. If you guys remember Pranksy, I feel like Pranksy's been somewhat quiet. He's got art boxes that he sells, but otherwise known for just absolutely sweeping NFT collections off their feet. But breaking, this is a big deal. Original project Gray concept art by Burnt Toast and Golden Wolf Studios, on loan from Doodles, will be on show for the first time outside of New York at my NFT Revolution I Am Pranksy exhibition at Asprey Studio in London. To celebrate, all OG holders are hereby invited to our launch night on Friday, October 18th. So this is kind of cool and goes back to just all of this on the early days of, hey, you launch a project, ends up getting picked up by a Pranksy studio in New York that are wanting to show off NFT artwork. Doodles is doing its own thing, but you get to see some early concepts and different components. I don't know. I think it's cool, but I'm not in New York, so I'm not going. But if you're near New York, hell yeah, Brimajowski. All right, Miles saying off the grid, which we just talked about a moment ago, may finally be the catalyst we needed for a much bigger gaming run. Let it sink in that a Web3 game was the number 5 most viewed game on Twitch on the weekend and being played by huge streamers like Ninja, Shroud, Dr. Disrespect, etc. And for the first time in weeks, GameFi is back in the top 3 for narrative mindshare. So I don't know where the hell these charts come from in terms of like narrative mindshare. Is it just something that scans Twitter and depending on the conversation? But meme coins, 26% of the mindshare, AI 21%, GameFi only 10%. So off the top of the stream, we were talking about how it accounted for like, what, 25% of blockchain activity. Mindshare, it's only 10%. Listen, people love gaming. So I had a thought the other day, right? You ever been in Toronto traffic and it's just absolutely miserable? The metaverse is going to become a thing because nobody's going to want to deal with Toronto traffic. Listen, I mean, I know there's other places in the world you can move to, but Toronto traffic is absolutely not it. So I love these. We've been highlighting different old Christmas and holiday flyers for video games. This one was for Xbox way back in the day. Buying an Xbox was $299. Now they're like $600 to $700. Absolute insanity. But Halo, NFL Fever, Tony Hawk Pro Skater, absolutely love those games. NASCAR Thunder 2002. I don't know if it was NASCAR 2002 or 2004, but a lot of them had some phenomenal soundtracks associated with it. And just listen, the nostalgia. That's the RWA collectible I want. I want to own a flyer for an Xbox ad from 2001. You know how rare that would be? True. So for RuneScape, if you don't know, it's a very, very popular game on the, I mean, kind of like close to World of Warcraft, but not necessarily as far-reaching as World of Warcraft did, but I saw this and it was interesting. So Jagex, which is like the company who created RuneScape, is developing a new survival game set in the RuneScape universe using Unreal Engine 5. We know Jagex at its best when we're working with players who are looking to recruit play testers for our closed alpha. And it just makes me think of all of the games distribution, all of the conversation around esports and video games and how these networks can help bring in more revenue, be more sustainable with having these games functioning on a blockchain. The Unreal Engine 5 mentioning the keeping the same IP, all this conversation around AI, name brands. I don't know, just it's cool. And this was also another thing I thought that was cool. And it was just somebody tweeting saying, kind of crazy how a Halo X COD Master Chief collab was actually scrapped for Modern Warfare 3 for completely unknown reasons. And this is just showing different IP within other games. You know, Halo, Call of Duty, completely different, but it works if they're interoperable. True. So this is just random news within the collectible card market. And for RWA segments, the podcast we've been doing on top of just watching all of these new protocols, platforms coming out to do tokenized cards. This is massive. So GameStop, the place that sells gaming collectibles, video games, they've announced a collaborator Collaboration. I think they forgot to finish the word. With PSA, the professional sports authenticator. So now you can actually go to GameStop and trade in your graded cards, or go to them to maybe even potentially get them graded. Grapevine, Texas, October 15th. GameStop Corp today announced it has entered into a collaboration with collectors through its Professional Sports Authenticator Division, PSA. PSA offers the world's largest and most trusted trading card and autograph authentication and grading services. As part of this collaboration, GameStop will be an authorized PSA dealer, and PSA will provide authentication and grading services for trading cards through select GameStop stores across the United States. Please see GameStop.com, card grading service for store locator, summary, And I don't know. Listen, I'm just seeing all these worlds collide in front of us, and what's the next stop? I mean, think of all the stores and wanting to house these things. Are EB Games going to want to have all of these cards, or would it be simpler for them to store it somewhere, have it on a blockchain, and let people trade digitally so they don't have to handle all of that product? Now, obviously, it probably brings in a whole bunch of revenue. They got different partners. Maybe it's cheaper on different components, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm just saying, the more digitized things are. All right, Wale.moca, please, for the love of God, have some common sense. All right. We're going to try to have some common sense. What's the problem? The Genesis collection of the Web3 gaming project Blade of God X minted a few months ago and has a floor price of 0.3. Okay, so that's pretty damn respectable, to be honest. Now they just tried to mint a new 5,000 NFT collection for 0.09 ETH each. Oh, nah, that's crazy. So, I mean, common sense would say, hey, you already have something that's valuable. You can't drop something and basically dilute the ecosystem and at like such a high price point. But then they justify it by saying, oh, like it's a smaller number of 5,000. Nah. Because then you're going to have people questioning motives. Then you're going to have all these emotional reactions. Just absolutely don't go there. Yes, you read that right. Unsurprisingly, they have sold less than 50% of the supply so far, even though they did a pre-sale. And I doubt the people who did mint will break even. You don't need a degree in NFT economics to know this was a bad idea in the first place. Now, you know, the playbook cut supply, cut mint price, etc. I don't know. I just keep going back to my comment the other day regarding, I think the NFT landscape is more about like mass adoption, not these kind of like one-off rare components that'll still exist in its own right, but just you cannot push that early. You cannot push that early because it's just, there's too many things that can go terrible. So this is kind of cool. So YouTube Shorts, apparently been watching Shorts. They're going to be switching it up. So it's not going to only be 60 seconds. It's going to be upwards of 3 minutes now. It's not activated just yet, but be aware if you're on YouTube Shorts and all of a sudden you got some long videos. Well, that is why. Claynosaurz, one of the big IPs within the space. Look, they're doing some plushies. Everybody loves toys. Everybody loves all that kind of jazz. Wanted to go check it out as we saw several different merch that was more wearables over the past few days. What are the prices going to be looking like? 3 plush pack, $72, typically $90, but I guess it's on sale. For the Raptor Pin Aqua, $15 each individual. Plushies about $30. I mean, I think they look good. It does seem kind of like expensive when you have 3 of them, but I guess if you go out to Toys R Us and see how expensive things are right now, holy smokes, but still kind of cool to see. BMW M is building on Ape Chain. All apes are invited to claim their personal BMW M driver's license. You know what's crazy? We can now have driver's licenses of our NFTs. Listen, Metaverse driver's licenses. How dystopian are we living? How dystopian are we living? Gala founder nodes can now be tokenized? Nah. Did they actually just release that? That's absolutely breaking news. Insane. Ad name here. I was here when ad name here broke the news that Gala nodes can now be tokenized. Are they mooning? Are they dying? What's happening to the price of Gala? That's absolutely insane. The OG Bored Ape Beamer jacket with IYK chip drops in person Friday, October the 18th. See, I thought this was something that was very exclusive. I didn't realize these are still to come, but what do we think? Do we vibe with it? Apparently this one's what like an extra small looks like. Looks okay. It feels kind of like retro in the sense of if I was at a car pit back in the day, I feel like these are kind of what the uniforms would wear of the race crew. Might be wrong. I don't know. The next billion on-chain users will come from viral mobile dApps. Well, that's Boomer quoting it, but this is actually coming from Blast, where they recently had their mobile Big Bang winning team's announcement. It's very interesting because Blast talked a lot about their builder funds. A lot of these different ecosystems having massive funds. If you haven't been paying attention, and there's going to be a lot that's being built. That's how Blast positioned the mobile Big Bang Bootcamp, and I couldn't agree more. Viral mobile dApps will be the bridge to mass adoption, but looking at this through that lens and considering what I know about the competition winners, they still appeal mainly to degens. I kind of agree with the concept of like mobile taking the lead. Everybody's got a phone, you know what I mean? Everybody's got a phone, so I really think the mobile component, but it's interesting. The Boomer's saying that it's only for degens. And yo, Jeremy, what's going on? What's going on? Better than most Web3 merch? Hell yeah. Yeah, I thought that actually looked really nice. Well, it's great to see innovation within the community. It's all staying within the community. These projects, while promising, don't seem to be solving the real problem, crossing over to new mainstream audiences. Awareness within degens is important, but without reaching beyond that bubble, growth will be stagnant. Blast needs to take a hard look at this. They've nailed marketing and awareness for the Web3 crowd, but they need more than that to go viral, become relevant for the next wave of users. And so, like, the question with it is, like, gaming, it's easy because it's all hidden behind the scenes. It's transactions. It's, you know, it's just easy to do. But for like consumer crypto and these mobile dApps, I mean, what are different components that you can integrate that's not like a game or some kind of like casino where it works? And, right? Like, I mean, if that's the whole idea of building these different things, you're going to have to have something that has a little bit more to it. And speaking of a little bit more than what you think is under the hood, Futureverse's very own Otto blockchain is awarded with this year's Ripple Innovation Awards. It's an honor to be working with Ripple Custody to enable the future of digital finance. Hell yeah, Brumajowski. So we got some old interviews with Jeff, if anybody's wanting to check them out, way back in the day, as in like a year and a bit ago. We talk about Otto. We have a different one about Atom as well, but really cool to see Otto doing that. And I really think that component right now, this is by far like the most uneducated and ununderstood component in the ecosystem for sure. But if anyone wants help with it, feel free to give me a shout. What are these new Ape AIP requesting slightly under $250,000 from new people I've never heard of? The floodgates have opened. There's been so many just wild proposals that have passed. Crazy amounts of money, just vibing. But they're passing. Phil's saying, I mean, we've already funded a free BMW and a hotel in Thailand. Why not? Web3 is phenomenal, guys. Phenomenal. Open is powered by the powerful Unreal Engine 5, which the new Jagex game has happened to be built on. Experience stunning visuals and immersive gameplay like never before. Its advanced technologies bring the expansive worlds of IPs such as Ready Player One to life. And one thing that I think is like definitely discredited, I know they haven't showed like a whole lot of videos about this. We've only got like 1 or 2 30-second videos, but it is actually pretty high fidelity and high quality what the environments look like within this game. So very excited to see you. 1K saying hi, don't fade Renga, bye. Now Renga is under the Yuga banner, I think now. I'm trying to remember how in the halibut all of this worked. This is also a copy pasta, so just take that with a grain of salt. But I don't remember if there was anything that happened around Legends of the Mara, because I thought Renga was also involved with that, but then it got given to Faraway, but Faraway still has a relationship with BAYC, so the interoperability aspect, I don't know. But what I'm trying to say is that I've highlighted, I think, unique and cool looking art, which is subjective. You might look at this and say, but arguably I would say this is kind of a creative style, or is, not kind of. And I think there's a place that if you're able to do that. For Doodles, again, that looked neat. Cool Cats, the right animation studio, looks phenomenal. Renga, I think also can look kind of cool. So we've seen clips of Off the Grid, or tweets about it, I should say, but I don't know if I've actually shared any gameplay for anybody that hasn't seen. So this is just kind of a quick 30-second feature of kind of like what the game looks like.
No! Of course.
And people talking about this.
On this guy's so fucking hard.
And you think about it, right? And there's people talking about like the esport for it already, and I'm like, I don't know. Can I view this as an esport? I guess if the prize money is there. Holy smokes! Speaking of money, $18 million of Ripple US dollars, Ripple USD, the stable coin. All news coming about it. Brad Garlinghouse also being very positive. Keep an eye on everything to do with the Ripple ecosystem. So this is super interesting. The captain, which I thought belonged to Lil Wayne, or at least this was Lil Wayne's character, if I do recall. Captain Stoke is now in the Doodles wallet. This could very well be Doodles' first acquisition from their own collection since the Hap Puke mascot purchased in 2021, which we did highlight way back in the day, how that one went for like 100 ETH. Jeez. Plans on using the IPs of the good old captain with no limitations is imminent. So I tried to check. If you check out the different wallets, somebody bought it 3 years ago, which was Jimmy, for 45 ETH. It's crossed a whole bunch of hands. Pranksy came into it, and then it got moved to the NFT Boxes Dispatch, which is like his NFT collection, and then it went to Doodles.eth 12 days ago. So you could probably do some digging to figure out what it was, but I mean, to think 3 years ago it was 45 ETH. How much is this? This isn't one of one. By the way, when you go to Doodles, there's like Skellies, but there's only one golden. Only one golden Skelly. Seen a lot of golden things selling lately. We also got that gold fluff listed. Be interesting to see if it moves. Just a reminder, guys, if you're liking this content, would encourage you to go check out the other previous live streams. Would love for you to see all that kind of jazz. If you do, check out the description down below or in my X bio for RWA segments if you're wanting more of a real-world asset-focused area where we kind of get into how these people are building, all cards and whatnot. As an example, talked with Ahmed, who's actually in between Toronto and Miami right now, who's building Tradable, doing cards, and that was this week's episode. So would love for you guys to check that out.